Hello, my doodle dudes, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna try and keep this audio part short, or I don't intend it to run that long because I have finals week still. I'm kind of in the last half of it, but I still wanted to put something out before I go on a trip with my family because I didn't want to just put out a video and be like, oh my gosh, I'm back, I have time to do things now, and then I disappear for a month again. Because that doesn't sound very, consistent of me. So yeah, I'm just gonna put this one out. Basically, I'm just gonna talk about how much I hate biology because I finished my biology class. Specifically, it's biodiversity, but yeah, I finished it. I'm done with it. There's nothing else I have to do. And now that it's complete, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be passing the class with a B, I can talk about how much I freaking hate biodiversity. Because yeah, it sucks. Well, it doesn't suck. I just don't like it, and it's unnecessary. It's very, very unnecessary, actually. And that's what I'm talking about today. That's actually what inspired this drawing, because, yeah, we had a whole thing on fungi, and that was very enlightening. I loved it so much. If you couldn't hear the sarcasm dripping from my voice in that instant, I hated it. I hated it. I hate the whole thing. It was never fun. And yeah, the thing is, if I needed it for my major, I'm going for psychology. So it's just all about that brain stuff, the neurons, a little bit of human development. I'm in a psychology class right now, and comparing the things I'm learning about in biodiversity to the things I'm learning about in my psychology class, there's literally zero overlap. I think there's one thing that overlaps, and that's talking about the different parts of field development, being a zygote, being a blastopore, all that jazz, the endoderm, the ectoderm, and the mesoderm, and that's pretty much it. And this class ran for the whole semester, and I love it. I love it so much because every single class, my teacher would constantly be talking about how oh, since you guys are med students, if you're not a med student, I don't really understand why you're in my class. And I was like, babes, I don't understand why I'm in your class either. I really do not. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I need this class, because I need to take 2 biology classes. And I really don't get it, because in both of those classes, I literally learned nothing that has to do with psychology, or learning about psychology whatsoever. I hate that about American college systems, how so much of it is just fluff that you don't really need for your job. It's just extra things, and it's unnecessary, but it's very expensive. I think my biology classes are the most expensive classes I've had out of all the classes I've taken so far. In the whole, a year and a half? Oh god, a year and a half. Jesus, that's really, really long. Okay, but yeah, out of the years, the year and a half I've been going, it's all the biology classes, all the sciencey stuff. And yeah, I would feel really bad for all those med student people who have to take even more. I had friends who were taking biodiversity, because there's a biodiversity lecture and a lab that you have to take, and some people were taking that, and they were also taking chemistry lecture and lab on top of that, and another math class, and I don't understand how those people were doing it. They're absolute troopers, because I suck at math, and I suck at science. Well, I kind of suck at science, but we'll get into that later. But, yeah, so I don't understand how they were doing it. I mean, most of them were very depressed the whole time. They were struggling, but, they got through it. They're smart people, so they survived. But, yeah, biodiversity is kind of alright. I rate it, out of 10. I'd probably give it, a 4. But most of that's probably because of my own problems and not with the actual class, because most of biodiversity was just memorizing different phylums and kingdoms, and that was literally it. We had a section where we were talking about plants, and it was just we had to remember a bunch of different types of plants and a bunch of different types of phylum and fungi, and I can't even remember any of it now. I literally took the final for it last week, and I can't remember anything I learned in the class. I think I was just in a high adrenaline stress moment for that whole semester, thinking I was gonna fail and trying so hard to memorize everything. And then I took the final exam, and I did good on the final exam, and now that I'm thinking about it, I can't think of anything that I remember in the class. Wait, no, I remember one thing. I remember Basidiomycota and Ascomycota. Those are two different types of fungi. I think Basidiomycota is the club fungi and Ascomycota is the sac fungi. I really hope I'm not wrong with that, because if I am, that would be very embarrassing. Because I didn't even finish the class. Technically, like, all the grades aren't even in yet. Like, that's going to be done on the 19th, so like 6 days from when I'm recording this now. And I find that to be very funny and very ridiculous. But yeah, the class was like, the only reason I basically survived the class was because of my friends. Like, a bunch of people were taking the class that I knew, and so we all helped each other out, and we have a group chat, and honestly, that group chat isn't even about biology as much anymore. It's literally just people talking about stupid things. But yeah, I think that that's really important if you're taking a difficult class. Like, if there's any class that you're like, I don't know if I'm really able to, like, handle all this, make sure that you know at least, like, 2 people in that class. 2 consistent people. That's very important, because there were a lot of people who I knew who went to those lectures. I mean, that's not even true. They didn't even go to the freaking lectures unless it was for like an in-lecture quiz, where like they just skipped the class. They'd never go to the lectures. They wouldn't take notes or anything like that. They'd only be there for the quizzes and then for the exams. And like, yeah, thank God that there was extra credit for that class, because if not, they would literally not have passed that class and had to take it again. But yeah, if you're going to be in a difficult class, like if you're not good at math or you're not good at science, like history or whatever people are doing, I don't know. If you're going to be in a difficult class, make sure that you have friends, or like you get connections in that class to make sure that you're going to be able to thrive and pass in that class, because if not, you're going to be probably screwed. Because there are going to be days where you're going to be sick and you're not going to feel good and you can't take notes or lecture, and you're going to be kind of screwed on that part, especially if your professor doesn't post like notes for the class. It's going to be really, really bad. So make sure you have people in the class who got your back, who can take notes for you if need be, and stuff like that, to just make sure you have a fallback. But yeah, besides that, honestly, I just don't like biodiversity. It was really, it was a long lecture. I think the lecture was, it was an hour and 30 minutes, and I think in every single class I was really close to falling asleep. And I think in some classes I did. Like, I think 45, maybe 35 to 50% of all the classes, I fell asleep like completely for at least 5 minutes. Like, I took a 5-minute nap and then I nodded myself awake. And I think for like 100% of every single class, there was a moment where I was feeling like, oh my gosh, I could take a nap right now. And I don't know why, because it wasn't like the professor had like a particularly like soothing voice. Like, she had like a little bit of an accent. Not really. I can't even remember what she freaking sounds like. That's how dumb I am. My God. But yeah, her voice wasn't particularly relaxing, and the stuff we were talking about, like, she didn't have a monotone voice. Like, she emoted on occasion. But like, yeah, something about the class was just so relaxing to me. Maybe it's because of how cold that room was. It was a cold freaking room. Remember one day I wore like a skirt and it wasn't like a midi skirt, it was like a normal skirt, and my legs were freaking freezing. I hate that building. Hate that class. Hate biology. Ugh, so annoying. But yeah, honestly, I'm probably just bitter. It wasn't really maybe as bad as I'm making it sound. I just suck at memorizing things, and that was literally like 90% of the class. Like, the whole thing was just memorizing things and more memorizing. Like, there was nothing that you could really apply about the knowledge, because it was literally just phylums and kingdoms and classes. Like, let me give an example. Like, for the final exam, which I will say I did really good on, like, I got like an 86 when I was expecting to get like a 70, so I freaking killed it. I got a B. I'm so smart, you guys. But yeah, like, she would give the characteristics of a certain phylum, and I'd have to just like remember the traits of the phylum, and like that would be what I picked. So there'd be like hemichordate, chordate. By the way, I don't know how to pronounce anything correctly. That was one big problem I was having in that class, because I would try and study with my friends, and I'd be like, oh, it's in enchiodermata, and they'd be like, enchiodermata? I don't even know how you say it right. It was like, it meant spiny skin, and it was like the ones that sea urchins, like it was underneath that phylum is what sea urchins were under. And so my friends would be like, Debbie, you're not saying it right. Like, you need to learn how to say it correctly. And I was like, I don't need to know how to say it correctly. I just need to know how to read it and write it. And I did, and I passed. So yeah, I can say enchinodermata all I want now. I don't even know if that's correct. But yeah, TLDR, don't be dumb like me. Check to see what you're going to be learning in your biology classes. Get better at memorizing things so you don't have to be like me, who has the memory of a goldfish. And yeah, that's the lesson for the video. Just don't be dumb and avoid biology. If you don't have to take it, just don't. But yeah, toodles my doodles. I will see you in the next video. Bye.